Hey treasures, welcome back to my channel. I'm like trying to get like comfy because the story is going to be juicy. Anyways, I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the third continuation, the third story to the Dating a Psycho series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will have the other two down below in the description bar. I don't want to like say anything else. Let's just get right on into it today. So I am at my work with Carla and I'm asking, my man's. He's not my man, but like he's my man, like, and he knows he's my man, but like we never labeled it, but like he's my man, you know what I'm saying? So I'm asking Carla, like, what are we doing today? And she's like, oh, hit up, did I name him? We're just gonna call him Sag. So he's like, oh, hit up Sag. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm asking Sag, like, where are you at? Like, what are you doing? And he tells me that he's in a party in my part of town. And I'm like, oh, like, and he's like, yeah, you should come by with Carla. And I was like, okay, great. So I told Carla, and I knew that I was going to be going out with Carla, like, at the end, and I knew I was probably going to be hooking up with him. So I brought, like, a change of clothes, and this outfit was, it was so sexy. Like, it was one of those outfits that had, like, holes, like, up the sides, and, like, it was, like, really cut, and obviously you guys know your girl is boobily blessed. And so, yeah, it was, like, looking good. But it was also too much to go to a party with people that I don't know, because I don't want them thinking, anything, like, of me, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, shit. So we're on the way to the party, and I see, like, a bunch of people, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need a jacket. Keep in mind, this is summertime. I'm like, I'm gonna need a sweater, because there's no way I'm walking up to this party like that. And so she's like, it's okay, I got you. So we end up, walking up, and of course I see Sag, and then I see one of Sag's best friends. What did I name him? I don't know what I named him, but I see one of his best friends, and I see him, of course, and then I see other people. And so I'm saying hi to the other people, and I'm giving, like, him a hug and stuff like that. And then I see, like, this puppy, and you cannot keep me from no puppy, okay? So I end up, going down to go hug the puppy that I didn't even, like, hug Sag yet, and, like, he's looking at me like being, like, a cool guy, like, and I just go down to the puppy, like, I avoid him, because I literally was like, I'm not gonna talk to you right away, like, I had to play hard to get still, like, whatever. So I went and hugged everybody else first, and then I got distracted with the dog. And so then I get up from the dog because their owner calls them. And he's like, what? You're not going to say hi to me? And so I give him a hug and stuff like that. And then he hands me his drink. So, like, we're sharing and shit. And so at one point, I remember I ended up giving him my phone. Keep that in mind. I ended up giving him my phone because I obviously had no pockets. And I was like, I'm going to go home with you anyway. So I might as well just give you my shit. And I remember we were at the front of the house. And it had reached, like, 12 o'clock. And I remember everybody was like, oh, like, happy Father's Day, so-and-so. Happy Father's Day, so-and-so. Happy Father's Day, Sag. And I go, what? Who? Father's Day to who? Now, I had to act like I didn't know he had a child because I knew. And you want to know how I knew? Not from him. Before I ended up going to this party to meet up with him, Carla ends up telling me, oh, it's Father's Day. Did you wish him a happy Father's Day yet? Wish who? I said. And she tells me the story about Sag and his child and how his child came to be. And I'm just thinking there, and I'm like, wow. Like, I've never not dated somebody because they had a kid. And I've never had somebody, well, I lied. I've never had somebody not tell me within 24 hours of meeting me that they had a child. And I don't really understand hiding your kid anyways. Like, why would somebody hide your kid, like, if you're dating somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not making sense. But anyway, so I'm, like, a little bit peeved, but I'm like, she's like, no, girl, don't be upset. Like, he's gonna tell you when he's ready. And I'm just thinking, like, it's been a week. Like, it's been a week, and at this point, he's telling me, like, yeah, like, you're not allowed to be with anybody else, basically. But at the same time, he's telling me that he's not ready for me yet. So I'm just thinking, like, okay, whatever, I'm going to wait to see if he tells me. So let's fast forward back to whenever everyone's saying, like, Happy Father's Day. And I'm looking at him, and then I just, like, I'm like, And he's just like, oh yeah, like, thank you. Anyways, so that was that whole thing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a conversation for later, because I don't know what Carla thinks this is, but I'm definitely not the type of bitch that's going to hold something back, because I have the worst poker face ever. If you think I'm upset, I 100% am. So we're at this party, whatever. Let's fast forward to whenever we're about to be leaving, because we're just like, okay, we've been here long enough, whatever. And so I'm sitting in the garage, and keep in mind, Sag has my phone and everything like that, right? So I'm sitting in the garage, and I'm talking to one of his friends, the friend that we went on the first date with, talking whatever. And then the guy that was having the party, he comes out, and I had talked to him before and everything like that, and he's talking to Sag. And so I'm like talking to them and stuff like that, and then Sag says something, but I'm just in the middle of talking, and so I'm like, no, you need to shut the fuck up, I'm talking, whatever. But I'm saying it as like a joke, and like, obviously, I do not hide who I am. Like, I do not, like, he knows who I am at this point. Like, I show him everything that I am at this point, because it has been like a week, and not everything that I am, but he knows I joke like that, basically. So, like, he knows I talk like that. So I'm like, yeah, you need to shut the fuck up, like, I'm talking. And so then he keeps talking, and I'm like, as a joke, I say, yeah, bye, like, I'm talking, bye. And so he ends up, like, leaving, but honestly, I didn't even notice that he left until his friend, like, left, and he came back, and he's like, oh, here's his thing. So it was like a bag, whatever, like, of weed and shit. So he's like, oh, here's his stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so I end up going to Carla's car, because I'm like, oh, we're like, where is he at? He never said he was doing anything. So, like, we just assumed he went to the bathroom, and then he was gonna, like, obviously come back to, like, get me, obviously. And then everyone's like, no, like, I think he left. And then Carla's just saying, no, he wouldn't leave her, like, no. And so we're in the car, and I'm just like, bro, I think he left. Like, after we're sitting there for probably about, like, 25 minutes, I'm just like, I think he left. And she's like, why would he leave you? And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I thought everything was going good. Like, I'm just as confused as you are. And she's like, okay, we'll call him. I'm like, I can't, because he has my phone. And so she's like, oh, shit. And he's like, what's up? And he sounds pissed. And I'm like, oh, God. And she's like, where'd you go? And he's like, I'm on my way home. And she replies, why would you be on your way home? Like, I'm with your girl right now. Like, and he's like, cuz if someone tells me that I should leave, then I'm gonna leave. And then me and her look at each other, and we're just like, what? Who told you to leave? And he says that I did. And I'm like, bro, are you good? No, I didn't. And so me and him, like, basically start, like, this, like, little bickering, because I was just like, is homeboy crazy? Like, is he schizo? And I'm not making fun of it, but I'm just like, no, for real, what is going on? Because what are you talking about? Remember, she's like, okay, well, you have her phone, so, and he's like, oh, shit. He's like, okay, I'm coming back. And so he gets there, and I remember Carla's trying to, like, coach me into, like, what to say, and she's like, do not freak out at him, do not, like, just let him talk, like, just be nice and just whatever. And I was like, girl, do you know who I am? I am not about to sit here and talk to a grown-ass man, who I now find out has a damn child, to act like a child and like, make him feel better for some stupid nah, I'm not doing that. So I remember I get out of her car, and I get into his car, and he's like, here's your phone. And I'm like, here's your stuff. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, are you being for real right now? And he's like, yeah, you told me to leave, so I left. And what's the problem? And immediately we get into it, because I was just like, this is such bullshit. There's no way in hell I'm dealing with this. Like, what are you talking about? When did I tell you to leave? And so he tells me when I told him to leave as a joke. And I was like, you cannot be serious. I was really telling you to leave. And he's like, yeah. And I'm looking at him, because I cannot believe this is reality. I cannot believe that he's not joking back with me. Like, I'm shocked that he's so pissed off. I'm shocked that it had gone to the point. And he says to me, I wish I never had your phone, because then I'd be straight done, and I would have just left and never returned. that's the way you want it, you can have it like that. No, I didn't say that. But I was like, seriously, you're that mad that I said a joke. You're that mad. And everyone knew it was a joke because no one knew you even left. And so we start talking and everything like that. And so I'm telling him, like, bro, I would never tell somebody to leave the party that they invited me to. I don't know who these people are. You do. How could I tell you to leave a party that you invited me to? That you know the people. How could I do that? If anything, I would just leave, bro. If I meant it, I would leave. Are you dumb? Like, are you dumb? And so I'm talking, and I remember he tells me, he's like, yo, shut up. Listen. He's from, I really wish I could say more shit, but he's from this part of town, and I'm from a way different part of town. And I don't ever tell me to shut up again. That's fucking rude. And honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, he did. Like, as soon as he said, he's like, yo, shut up. He was like, I'm sorry, that was rude. And I'm like, yo, don't ever say it to me again. Like, that's fucking rude. And he's like, I know, I'm sorry. And I was just like, because honestly, I got so hot where I was like, yo, we're gonna get into it today because no one's talking to me like that. My mama doesn't talk to me like that. You're not talking to me like that. We start to, like, get better, and I'm honestly getting emotional because at this point in time, it's been so long that I have, like, dated. It's been so long that I, like, liked someone, and so for him to, like, get mad over stupid shit, I was trying to, like, reason with him and trying to, like, build something with this bullshit, whatever, that he wanted me to build because I wasn't even into it in the first place. So I was just like, this has to be a freaking joke. And so eventually, like, I'm starting to get, like, really upset. And like, when I get really upset and I feel like I'm gonna cry, I stop talking. And I feel like he has, like, I learned later, but he has a weakness for, like, sad women. And so he starts, like, talking to me and, like, being more, like, understanding and everything like that. And basically we came to the conclusion that we're going to agree to disagree. Carla calls me, and he's like, yo, is she still here? I'm like, of course she's still here. What if you dump me out of your car? Of course she's going to stay here and figure out, like, what's going on with us, whatever. And at this point, like, he, like, kisses me and everything like that. So, like, we're, like, good. And I'm like, thanks, babe, for staying. Like, I'll see you later. She's like, okay, bye, babe. And so whatever, him and I go and hang out. Anyways, whatever, we progress. And the week goes on and everything's good and everything's Gucci. Now, this was the week that he was going to have his child. And of course, I'm not under any delusions that I'm about to meet your kid. We don't know each other like that. I don't want to meet your kid right now. Like, I don't want to. And why would you ever introduce, like, a bitch you just met? And he tells me basically, like, the plan for, like, the weekend and all this shit. And basically, this is, like, a Friday where he tells me he's about to go pick up his kid, and he says that sometimes he drops his kid off at his parents' house so they can, like, see him and all that shit. And he sometimes is able to, like, get a few hours away and, like, to, like, hang out with his friends. And, yeah, again, like, red flag, because I'm like, if you don't get your kid all the time, you can't go, like, 3 days without seeing your friends and, like, getting drunk. Like, what? You seriously can't do that. And I mean, I guess, like, I don't know. I guess if this has just been for, like, because the kid is pretty old, so I guess if it's been, you know, a while, like, you kind of know your kid and, like, they're cool and, like, I don't know. But I was just like, okay, sure, like, and again, like, this kid is none of my business, like, absolutely none of my business. So I'm like, do whatever you do what your norm is. But when he told me that, like, he can sometimes go out and, like, get away from the kid, I was like, okay, perfect. Like, I'll be able to see you because your girl wants to get it in. So when I'm in my room, like, waiting to see if I'm going to hang out with him, my mom's asking me, are you going to go out tonight? And I'm like, I have no idea. He's telling me this and this. And I'm not hearing from him, like, super often. And, of course, like, I'm being completely understanding because, like, you're with your child. Like, a child is always the first priority. And so I'm just, like, you know, chilling or whatever. And then he tells me that he, like, went to go see his friends. And I'm just thinking, like, sitting there, and I'm like, are you for real right now? You went to go see your friends that you always see instead of hanging out with the girl that you're trying to date. On top of that, too, it's just, like, this is, like, completely different situation from me being, like, clingy or whatever, because, again, like, we basically hung out on the weekends. Like, I would see him once during the week, but then we hung out on the weekend. And because I got introduced to him from Carla, like, my best friend, she's gonna be there with like her and her man, like it's just obvious that you should like bring me too. And I'm not saying that I should always be invited, but I'm just like, I haven't seen you for X amount of days, like why are you not seeing me too? Or like why are you not seeing me like on the route home? You know what I'm trying to say? And so I literally am like pissed. Like I'm pissed. I'm so pissed because I'm like, I feel like he got my hopes up and then he like didn't pan through and then went to go like fucking hang out with his friends that he always fucking sees. Like what? The next morning I wake up and he like texts me like he always did, and I don't reply because I am petty like that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I am super petty and I 100% will ignore you until I'm better. And so I'm like not talking to him, and Carla gets into work and she like asks me like, you know, how everything is. And I tell her like, I'm pissed off, I'm not talking to him right now. He double messaged me, by the way. So he said good morning to me. I don't talk to him for like, I obviously am not talking to him. 4 hours go by and he messaged me again asking me if I'm good. And I don't reply because I'm not good. And the thing is too, is like, I am one of those women sometimes, like I'm not totally like that, but sometimes where I'm like, no, you should know why I'm pissed off. So you should just be telling me, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be telling me like, hey, what's up? Like, what the fuck? You need to be asking me, I'm sorry, can we hang out today? Like, that's what I want to hear. Because I tell Carla that I'm ignoring him and she's like, oh, no, don't do that. Like, talk to him, please, like, talk to him. And so I'm like, okay, fine. So I give him like another like hour, you know, an hour, 45 minutes, like job, another one. And then I say like, I'm good, what's up? And then I don't hear from him. And so hours go by, I'm not hearing from him, and she's like, oh, he'll get back to you, like, I'm sure of it, whatever. And I still don't hear from him. And then I see Carla's man walk in. And he obviously greets me, you know, he's talking to me. And then I see a few other people walk in with the crew. And I'm like, okay. I'm talking to Carla's man, and we're going to give him a name. So we're going to call him Shaq. Okay, Shaq. So I'm talking to Shaq, and we go outside while he's smoking. I don't smoke. And by the way, no, never mind. So I ask him, I'm like, hey, well, yo, what's up? Like, what's up with your boy or whatever? And he's just like giving me like this look. And I'm like, okay, if you know something, tell me. Like, why are you keeping me on hold? Like, this is stupid. Just fucking tell me, like, be an adult. And he's just like, nothing. And I'm just like, oh my God. So like, there's a thing then, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being dumb. Like, oh, maybe he didn't get my message. Like, Carla's trying to tell me. He's pissed off at me because I ignored him, which is like, okay, yeah, let's solve like someone ignoring you with like more ignorance. Yeah, let's do that, you know? So we get back inside and he talks to one of his friends, and he's like, yo, can you call Sag? And they're like, oh, well, Sag is on his way. And so then Shaq looks at me and he's like, there you go. And I'm like, oh God, okay, great. So this is like a thing, and I'm at work, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done work at this point. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna stay here to figure this shit out, because I'm not gonna go and talk through text. Like, I'm an adult. I'm like a grown-ass woman. Like, I'm not gonna talk to you and we're in a fight or an argument through text. Like, that's just stupid. So I'm just gonna wait for you to get here. And so I remember Carla is like behind the bar and shit gets busy. And so I just told my manager, I'm like, should I go in and back and help her? And he goes, yeah, just sign back in. Like, you're good. So I signed back in and I'm helping her. And so now I'm behind the bar. And I would say maybe like 15 minutes, I see Sag walking in. And I'm looking at him and I'm waiting for him to look up to like see me and to like, you know, say hi like normal people. And he doesn't. And so Carla like leaves the bar to go say hi to like everybody. And like she says hi to him and stuff like that. And so they go outside. And so she goes outside to say hi to everybody. And then she comes back around and I'm like, so like, did he say anything? And she says no. And I was like, well, he came and I know for sure, like, you had to fucking see me. And even if you didn't see me, your friends would be like, yo, your girl's there. Like, what are you saying? So, what? Baby, Carla. If this man does not approach me and talk to me like a fucking man, I will probably punch him in the face. And side note, I was told that like a whole bunch of shit about Sag's ex-girlfriend. You know how they try to like tell you shit about like their ex-girlfriend to like make you feel super bad, to be like, oh babe, like don't worry, like I would never do that to you, that type of shit. But I didn't hear from him. I heard it from Carla. And this girl had slapped him in the face. And I said, I know exactly why. I learned 2 weeks in exactly why she slapped him in the face. Because I wanted to punch him in the face and run him over after 2 weeks with the stupid shit that this was going on. Keep in mind, he's like 7 years older than me. Okay? So, I'm sitting here now. Or I'm at the bar now. And I'm getting more antsy because I am one of those people that I don't like. I'm getting anxious because I don't like things where I'm like, I know something's about to go down and I have to wait for it. So I just go and find the trouble myself because I know it has to be had. So I remember I go outside and like work is pretty much like wrapping up at this point. And there was like a big fight, whatever, surrounding Carla and her people and like my man Sag and all that shit. And so I'm outside and I go and Carla goes and talks to Sag and she's like, she gives him a hug with me there because I'm like, if you don't set something up, I will fucking wring his neck. So Carla goes over to him and gives him a hug and then she's like, oh, let's do a group hug, whatever. So we do like a group hug and then she leaves us alone, whatever, and he's hugging me and then he lets go of me like pretty quickly and he's like, oh, what does he say to me? He says something along the lines of like, oh, I don't want to like ruin you like not talking to me, or like I don't want to like ruin your time with like those other guys, or some stupid shit like that, like something to get me heated. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's all I can say. Like, what are you talking about? And so I tell him, like, can we please like go talk over there? And he's like, no, I'm with my friends. And I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna stay here and you're gonna bring your ass over here to talk to me. And I dead ass had to grab his hand and like drag him out of like where the people, like those people are, so we can go and talk by ourselves. And I'm dragging him and he's like, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, no, you're gonna talk to me now because you're at my workplace and I can't deal with this shit. Like, you're gonna talk to me now. So eventually I get him to walk away with me and we're talking. And he tells me that I slept with somebody else. And I said, oh, who? Like, who? Who on earth? Please tell me. I wish I did. Like, I wish I slept with somebody else. I honestly wanted to say this, but I knew he was a psycho Sag at this point in time, so I didn't. But I genuinely wanted to say, I'm like, do you think if I slept with somebody else, I would be here right now? I'd be trying to talk to you right now. I'd be trying to conclude this with you and like work shit out with you. Do you really think I'd care about you if I slept with somebody else? Do you think I would be here right now dealing with your BS? Because you know what's fucking BS. If I had other mans right now, you really think I'd be dealing with that? I'd be like, peace the fuck out. See you later. Never. See you never. No, it wouldn't be happening. So what BS are you fucking talking about? Nothing happened yesterday. You were the one who was supposed to come and fucking see me if you had the liberty to go out, and you didn't. So if anybody should be mad right now, it should be me. Now, what I really said was, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. I stayed home waiting for you, and you didn't hit me up to hang out. So I stayed home. Oh, yeah, that's just bullshit. You did not stay home. I know you banged somebody else, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, are you joking? Like, are you fucking kidding? We were literally there arguing for minutes. And like, by minutes, I mean like 30 minutes. Like, we're there arguing. Or it felt like 30 minutes anyway. And I'm just thinking, like, this is the stupidest shit. Like, this was the stupidest shit. This is not even, like, high school shit. This is, like, elementary school shit. Where I was like, is this a damn joke? Like, I literally just kept looking around and being like, are there cameras here? Because there's no way that this is for real. There's no way that this is one of the oldest men. I don't even want to call him a man. There's no way this is one of the oldest boys I've dated. And I'm dealing with this right now. Like, it can't go on. Like, it can't be going on. So, eventually, he walks away from me and he's like, all right, cool. Like, he's like, I was ready to put you in the equation. Like, I was ready for you to, like, meet my family. I was ready for us to be, like, da-da-da-da-da. And like, all right, cool. Like, you don't want that? I told you from day one, say less. If you don't want this, tell me the truth, whatever. Don't do any bullshit, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I told you already. Don't pull shit on me. bro, like, sorry, I'm getting way too mad right now. If I wanted to do something, I freaking would, because what are you right now? You're not my man's. I'm gonna be dealing with your bullshit right now at my workplace. I straight up was arguing with this man outside of my workplace. Like, I don't have a job or anything like that. Like, I dead ass, I didn't help clean up that day. I didn't help with shit. I was too busy with his bullshit to try and figure that shit out to do any of what I was supposed to be doing. And so I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I remember he walks away from me like a little bitch, and I'm like, okay, at this point, oh God, at this point, this is a absolute truth channel, so I'm going to be completely honest and just say what it is. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need to start crying. And genuinely, it was so hard for me to start crying because I knew if I cried that he would give in and actually just listen to fucking reason, because that's what happened the last time we had a fight in the car, right? So I was like, I need to have tears to be really upset, because I was really upset. I just couldn't cry. So I was like, I need to cry now. I literally had to think of like the saddest things in my entire life to start crying, because I really could not cry over this. Like, it was just the stupidest thing. And again, another red flag. Like, you can't deal with shit as a grown man. You're gonna go back to your fucking friends, you little stupid pussy ass bitch. Like, you can't be without your friends for a minute, like, for real, even though you can see them. Like, really? That's your fucking bitch ass. Anyways, so I remember he walks away, and I'm like, I need to start crying, So I'm like thinking about all this shit. And I remember I just squat down to make it look like I'm really, like, you know, like really, really sad. And so one of his friends walks over, this drunken ass friend walks over, and he's like, hey, what's wrong? And I tell him, I'm like, he's being dumb, he's being a fucking, I didn't say that, but I'm like, he's being stupid, he's not listening to me, all this dumb ass shit is going on. I'm like, I'm pissed. And he's like, his friends are trying to tell me, like, don't cry over a guy, like, don't ever do that, whatever. I'm like, I'm not crying over a guy, I'm crying over the situation, even though I wasn't even really crying. I literally had to, like, it was so hard to pull tears. I had like one tear streak down down my cheek because I couldn't do it. And so he's like, yo, so finally he does what I want, and he goes and he calls my man over, and he's like, yo, just talk to her. You know, he's drunk as hell, this friend, and he's like, just talk to her. And so Sag tries to throw me under the bus and says, yo, like, she slept with somebody else, da 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 da. And he's like, oh, yo, she did that, whatever, like, that's dirty, like, you should, like, basically saying this shit. And I'm like, okay, what are you not understanding? Nothing happened. I don't even know. Man, I could even do that with. Like, what are you talking about? And it's so funny because at that point in time, one of my coworkers ends up banging on the glass. Like, he's just, like, a jokester. So he ends up banging on the glass. And Sag looks at me and he's like, really? And I'm like, are you for real right now? He's like, isn't that the same one that commented on your Instagram? And I'm like, oh shit, like, yeah, it is. I'm like, listen, I haven't banged anyone in this place, because my ex at the time didn't even work here. But I'm like, I haven't banged anyone in this place, like. And so I'm like basically trying to talk to him, whatever. The drunk guy goes in and out of our conversation. I'm like, yo, listen. I'm like, no disrespect, but you need to get the hell away from us right now so I can figure this shit out. Get the away from me. And so he finally like, walks off because I was getting so annoyed. And so I'm talking, and he's just, again, now at this point, Sag is being, like, way more emotional finally, and, like, kind of, like, letting down his guard, and he's, like, telling me, like, yo, like, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you ignore me? I don't like being ignored. If you have a problem, like, just tell me, like, right away. Like, please just, like, don't ignore me. I hate that. And I'm like, you're right. Like, because he was. I'm like, you're right. I should have just said what's up, but I just don't do that, and you're right. You're 100% right. But what you're not right about is X, Y, Z. And so we're talking, whatever, and so I eventually, like, put my arms around him, whatever, and, like, I'm looking, and he's, like, taller than me, right? So I'm, like, looking up and, like, I have my arms around him, and he's, like, looking down, whatever, and, like, we're, like, basically look like we're, like, about to kiss. Like, so he's, like, this, and I'm, like, this. And so we're talking, and I'm, like, coaxing him. I'm literally, like, rubbing him and all the, like, rubbing his back. Like, don't be dirty, guys. I'm literally, like, rubbing his, like, back and stuff like that. And, like, he's, like, basically, he's, like, melting in my arms. Like, I can feel him, like, melting and, like, the ice around him was like melting into me, and like I'm like, okay, I'm bringing him down, I'm bringing him back down to fucking Earth because he was on like another planet with all this BS, right? And I think one of his friends said something, and it sets him back off. And so I'm like, oh god, all that hard work. So fast forwarding, the friends are all leaving at this point. We're beyond close at this point, and I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like walks away from me. And so I remember as me and him are talking, and then his friend, he was going to end up driving his friends to like a different place. And so I'm like, okay, I guess he's leaving now. Like, I don't even know where we are at this point, because I hate things like that feel like unconcluded, and it felt like unconclusion. So I'm just like, I don't even know what the hell is going on. Like, I feel like that solved absolutely nothing at this point. And so we're talking, and then his friends like all see him, and then they're like, oh shit, okay. And so then he ends up walking away from me again, and my friend pulls up now, and then me and her are talking, and she's like, okay, so like, do you want me to take you home? And I'm like, I guess. And she's like, what happened? And I'm like, I can't even tell you because I don't even understand it myself. And so Sag pulls up like his car, and his friends are all there, and his friends all like climb into the car and shit like that. And so I was like, okay, I guess he's leaving me here with the shit unconcluded. Like, fuck, I guess it's done. Like, I guess this 2-week tryst is freaking over bullshit. And so I see him staying there, and I'm like, I guess they're talking, trying to figure out where to go. And he finally is like, yo, like, come over here. And then his friend, like, gets out, and he's like, yo, like, you can come sit in the front. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. So my girl's like, are you sure you want to go? And I'm like, girl, I have to go. Like, girls have this fucking stupid thing where, like, nothing else matters until their shit is right with their man. So I was like, there's no way I wasn't gonna go to try and sort this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And she's like, okay, well, call me later. I'm like, yeah, I will. So we get into the car, and him and I drive off. Now, if you think that is the end, no. There's so much more to go. I wish it was a fucking end, but it wasn't, because I'm stupid and I fell for a bunch of bullshit, which I'm now sensing is probably all these things that I'm realizing are like narcissity. Like, this is all narcissistic fucking behavior. But we're gonna continue on with this story, because this is gonna be honestly probably like a 10-parter, and we're only at number 3. So if you guys want to figure out what number 4, subscribe, like this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Only you can get me right. You know you get me high. Nobody gets me high. You've never been this high.